See, the thing is, they lied to us. They sold us a dream of independence, told us that we were going to be free, that we would have a future. But here we are, a generation stuck in a mess they left behind. And when I look around, all I see is sons and daughters of traitors driving around in big cars, living in luxury, while the ones who are supposed to inherit this country are still stuck in struggle. My grandfather was a Mau Mau. My people bled. They died. They fought for this land. But now, all I see is those who sold us out sitting pretty, while the rest of us fight just to survive. And it hurts. It hurts deep. But I'm not going to sit here and be quiet anymore. This is the truth they don't want us to know. Jomo Kenyatta, they called him the father of the nation, the hero, the man who led us to freedom. But I've got news for you. This man was no hero. He was actually a traitor. And everything we're dealing with today, the corruption, the land theft, it all leads back to him. He's the reason why we're stuck in this nightmare, watching the few flourish while the rest of us rot. So here's a story they never told us. Let's start with land. The one thing that was supposed to be ours, the one thing that people fought for. When the British finally gave up and left, we were supposed to get our land back. The land that was stolen from us, from the poor, from the ones in the trenches. But what does Kenyatta do? He hands it over to the same people who are loyal to the British, the homeguards, the rich, the powerful, the very same people who never stepped foot into the struggle. So he takes the land, our land, and he gives it away. And who gets it? Him, his friends, and his family. The same people who are cozy with the colonizers and never fought for freedom. And us? The ones who sacrificed everything, the ones who fought for a better future, we get nothing but empty promises and lies. So while Kenyatta and his cronies are out here buying land and building empires, the rest of us are left to struggle and starve and watch as our futures are stolen away from us. That's the legacy he left. And that's the reality that we're living in today. But it doesn't stop there. Oh no, Kenyatta wasn't done then. I mean, he wasn't just going to take what was ours. He was going to make sure that power stayed in the family. And how does he do that? He picks a puppet. A man who's pretty much nobody without his blessing. Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. Now, Moi was not the one fighting in the front lines either. He was not some hero who stood up against the British. He was a man who knew how to play the game. He knew how to bend to Kenyatta's will. And that's why pretty much Kenyatta made him president. I mean, he knew that Moi would keep the system going. He would keep the power in the hands of the elite. So Kenyatta dies, and what happens? Moi steps into his shoes and keeps the cycle going. Kenyatta's system of corruption, land theft, and tribalism, it doesn't stop with him. It just gets passed on to the next man who's going to keep it alive. Oh, and keep it alive he did for almost 20 years. 20-something, I think. And then there's Uhuru Kenyatta. You can't tell me that Kenyatta's son did not know what his father did. You know, you can't tell me that he did not see the corruption and the land grabbing. Uhuru was raised in that system. Now he becomes president. And what happens? We continue in the legacy that the father built. While the rest of us struggle and the youths are left jobless, no land, no future, Uhuru Kenyatta is out here living his best life, inheriting pretty much everything his father built. And what was the story that we were told? That this man was the hero back in 2013. This were the guys who are going to finally save this country. Oh, we've seen that story before, haven't we? We've seen it with Kenyatta. We've seen it with Moi. They've sold us out. They've sold our future. And I get very sad when I see Uhuru Kenyatta going on TV telling young people that they should fight for their future when this dude was literally the president. He could have done it. He was in the position to do it. But here we are, man. I guess this is us fighting for that future. And here's a real gut punch. Kenyatta, the man who we're told is the father of this nation, was actually a vocal opponent of the Mau Mau fighters. Think about this. The same people who fought and bled for Kenya's freedom, he called them terrorists. In his book, Facing Mount Kenya, Kenyatta does not just distance himself from the Mau Mau. He flat out condemns them. He calls them primitive, uncivilized, and violent. he paints them as the enemy, as a threat to the future of the country that they fought for in the first place. Imagine this. These fighters, they risked everything, their families, their lives, their dignity, to push out the British colonizers. And what does Kenyatta do when he finally gets into power? He turns his back on them. He throws them under the bus, calls them outlaws, and leaves them to rot in jails and unmarked graves, while he and his cronies are living large. And once he gets into power, he makes it clear that there's no space for them in the vision of Kenya. A vision where the rich get rich, the poor stay poor, the corrupt keep ruling, and the rest of us stay down. And this is not just something that happened in the past. This is the reality that we live in today. The same betrayal, the same silencing of the voices of the oppressed. Mau fighters are never really celebrated for their sacrifices. Instead, most of their stories are buried. While Kenyatta, the man who sold them out, gets roads named after him, statues built in his honor, and history written to make him the savior. Look at Kenya today. We have politicians who don't care about us, who care only about themselves, their families, and their bank accounts. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. There's a whole generation out here who watch the same people who sold us out continue to thrive. And it's painful to know that we've been lied to and kept in the dark. 2027 is fast approaching. Are you going to do something about it?